everybody? It's Thursday morning, my time, 6:40 a.m. I'm gonna go on my little intro, and then I'll address all the questions. We'll get caught up on what happened last night and talk about what's ahead of us and how the channel is growing. First and foremost, as you check in, like this video, make sure you're subscribed. Guys, click the link that's pinned in the comment section below. That's our Johnny Says Boxing Insider group. It's a VIP group. You get a bunch of access on our YouTube channel. More importantly, you get access to our Discord. It's a private group. That Discord was popping last night. So before I get into everything else, I just want to do a public service announcement. I want to say I appreciate everybody here. I appreciate the supporters, but I also really mean this. I appreciate the haters. I do. It's something that I've always liked about competition. It's something that always allowed me to succeed in team sports, education, whatever it may be. You know, I've always, as men, as we get older, we are faced with negativity and haters. And dude, the comment section, those of you who sit back in the shadows and wait for us to pick wrongly to then comment and, you know, your vitriol behind your negative comments, I really say thank you. I really appreciate the hate because the way I register it is it allows me to grow and get better because it can't be all rainbows and sunshines. So that's the only time I'm going to stick with the haters and the negative comments. I'm talking about on the YouTube channel. I woke up this morning, I was like, damn, dude, you guys are coming at me. But I really appreciate it. Thank you, because I hate losing. And, you know, I'm not going to be 100% at all. But the next statement off of that is, I do this for my love of the game, of my passion for boxing. I never once told anybody, I don't stand on a throne and tell you that I'm an expert in gambling. This is a passion project of mine because of my love for boxing. That's first and foremost. Just feel like I want to say that because last night, and then also I shared some advice. So one of the things I take pride in as a person, as a man, as a friend, is my authenticity. So if you meet me in real life, or if you know me on the stream, this is how I am. The part of my personality where I'm trying to get better at is when I do the Stats Don't Lie videos, the edited ones, because as I watch those back, you know, I'm trying to get my personality out a bit more in those videos because I'm on a script, per se. So one of my buddies, you know, he's not even, I don't know him personally. He's one of these insiders on the ground who works for Fight Hype, and he travels through Australia, and he's in all the gyms. And there was an Australian card last night, and I watched it. It was, I mean, no shade on the boys up in Brisbane, no shade on the boys, the boxers. It was not. It was kind of like watching low-level soccer, like C-level La Liga in Mexico, watching like Michoacan taking on, you know, if you were comparing that to what you saw in Japan. So I shared some advice. He said he had some insider advice that the two main fights would go the distance. They didn't, and that's on me. I wasn't telling you to bet on it. I didn't bet on it, but I shared it with you, and I know you guys, some of you guys out there, when I do share info, you listen tooth and nail, and that's fine as well. So maybe I should leave a preface on those. But you know, and then a couple weeks ago, somebody sent me an email and shared insider information on the Selecki fight, on the Mabili fight, and we hit. So you just got to take it with a grain of salt as we grow on the channel. And if you're new to boxing, my whole goal for you is to learn the sport of boxing. And if you are betting, remember, don't bet to get rich. I do it for entertainment purposes. If I sprinkle a little something on a card that I might not be into initially, that little sprinkle for me will help me stay locked in and tuned in. And maybe I'll learn something about a fighter that I was unaware of. So that's literally my mindset with that. But in this group, as the channel is growing, there are professional bettors and professional gamblers who are on the channel. So you just have to learn to navigate those waters as well. Now, if you remember in the Discord, there's some big boys in that Discord. There's guys who are betting thousands of dollars, winning thousands of dollars. But I want you to understand, you know, like anything in life, like anything on social media, you're only going to see the good side. So when guys hit for $30,000, when guys hit for $70,000, that looks all glamorous to guys who want to be pro bettors and pro gamblers. But remember, you're not always seeing the losses. You know what I'm saying? You're not understanding their mental health. You're not understanding the stresses that come with outcomes that are out of your control. Keep that in mind. These betting on boxing, betting on anything, betting on the stocks. People try to say one of my buddies is a stock market trader. He's a day trader. And, you know, that's the same thing. That's gambling, betting, whatever it may be. The minute you put an outcome that is out of your control of these hands, you know what I mean? Like you gotta take the good with the bad. Okay. Now, moving forward, let's talk about Japan. I woke up this morning. I mean, by the time the main event started, it was 10 p.m. I usually go to bed at 8 p.m. I wake up at 5 a.m. every morning. And the last 2 mornings I had to wake up at 4 a.m. I went live on Gary's live stream from 3D Boxing yesterday. That was 5 a.m. my time. It was 3 p.m. for Chilltown, and I think 4 p.m. or 2 p.m. for Gary. It was 5 a.m. my time. So I was exhausted, and the day before I woke up early. Now, the Eric Rosa fight, we were pretty spot on how that fight played out. The Eric Rosa fight, Takami, you know, he was 9-0 with 7 stoppages. I still think he's the real deal. That was a good fight. You know, it played out exactly how we wanted to play out. The second one, Vargas versus Higa. I told you guys all week on my live stream, I was torn with that one, where to go with it. So, you know, having it play out as a draw, because I predicted Higa to win on the live stream, and I talked about this in the Discord, TJ actually put doubt on my pick, which I feel is a positive thing. Guys, this is why I don't use this as an echo chamber. An echo chamber, if you're unaware, is in a lot of political sort of social media channels, social media sites. Whether you're in America, red or blue, political news sort of channels will be echo chambers. Everybody's agreeing with you. Everybody's patting you on the back. This is not that, dude. So when I'm doing the debate, you know, the talk with TJ, he kind of convinced me to bet the draw. So my saving grace last night was I bet the draw at 17-1 for Vargas and Higa. I didn't go heavy on it, but I mean, it still paid out 17-1. So that was my saving grace. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm an expert. Anybody who bets the draw and it comes in and they tell you that, dude, I'm a beast. Come on, mate. You bet when you hit on a pick that it's the draw, it's because obviously things went your way. I want to know how you guys scored that. It was wild to see. That was the fight. That was the last fight I watched before I went to bed. It was wild to see Higa get dropped late. And then the scorecards obviously saw that Vargas needed the knockdown late to get the draw. So it just kind of make you scratch your head with some of the scorecards. And then this morning, guys, our Discord was wild. So I started the Discord like 10 days ago. I love the Discord. And personally, my favorite thing about the Discord is that you guys don't need me, meaning you don't need me to moderate. So I'm reading all the comments in the Discord, and I'll acknowledge all these comments in a second. I'm reading all the comments in the Discord from the main event, and Sandoval went in as a huge dog. And those odds were super sexy. We talked about on the live stream. He was a big underdog, you know, and I talked about in my breakdown. The 26-year-old, dude, this is tempting to bet on. You know, he's fighting a 33-year-old Taraji, and I still was leaning on Taraji based on world-level experience and what he had done in his career, the pound-for-pound ranking, all that, you know, all that stuff. Sometimes the shine, you got to take in consideration the shine. For me personally, I just can't throw the shine away in relation to where I'm going to put my money on. And I'm not salty about it, but I woke up and read that were the scorecards controversial? Because somebody said that Sandoval 117-110 was just outrageous. How'd you guys score it? And I'll start. We're 10 minutes in. That's my intro, guys. I'm gonna leave it open now. What's up, Goat? What's up, More the Prince? Sandoval will pull off the upset. Taraji's up there in age. Yep, we knew that too, More. I just didn't know if he'd be enough. Dino Mac, what's up, Dino? I'm glad you got on alive. Higa retired. Thomas Piercy. Kingdom Life. I had Sandoval called it win because the other guy had 2 stolen. Man, I knew Japanese fighters were going to lose that one. Sandoval 4 out of the last 6 rounds. Okay, so I'm gonna rewatch the fight. I got to do my due diligence. Just as a fight fan, I'm pissed that I missed. Higa did retire. Kizabi. Higa retired. And like I always do, every time. What's up, Thomas Piercy? Every time we do these lives, we have losing. So the draw in Australia on a money line, it kind of. It ruins our parlay. Dwayne Styles, happy Wednesday. Did you guys see the WBO post regarding Bam? No, what happened? Dino Mac, join our Discord. The link is pinned in the comment section, Dino. Guys, get access to the Discord. You're going to see the money. You're going to see there's a bunch of pro gamblers in the Discord group. It supports the channel, and it's only a couple bucks a month. Oscar Duarte by stoppage. I'm gonna give the chat a couple more some more time to talk about Japan, and then we'll get to Duarte and Kenneth Sims Jr. It's crazy. I don't know how that. Yeah, the judges kind of what I'm reading about the judges were all kind of over the place. Yeah, we're going to get to Sims Jr. versus Duarte in a second. I want to see where everyone's at. Money Meach in the house. Yeah, some of you boys hit big in your parlays. I was, and like, you know, if you're, the best way to do this psychologically and ask yourself if you're not gambling for entertainment purposes and you don't have the financial resources to only gamble and do it as a business. I'm talking the guys I know who do it as a business. They have spreadsheets, they have data, they have Microsoft Word or Excel. They're doing research, they're doing film. They're not just like, oh, I got X amount of money because I got this. Let me put it on this because dude on the internet said he's going to win. So if you're going to go about it from a business perspective, you need to treat your bets like a business, okay? Now, if you're not doing it like a business and you're doing it for entertainment purposes and you like to share knowledge and kind of test your acumen, then you shouldn't be upset when you lose. You should be cheering. Like, so when I lose and I see people who have won, I'm like, dude, I'm glad you won 100% because I'm not gambling on my favorite sport to get rich. But we have an interesting card. All right, let's take History Vault's comment. I'm all fine with Sandoval winning by a point, even though I don't think he deserved it, but people are out here saying Sandoval won clearly, which is pure BS. I think that the draw was BS. They had to recover and give Sandoval the win to not seem corrupt. Vargas Rob. Do I watch WWE now? I haven't watched WWE since probably Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels were the Rockers. I'm an old head, dude. I'm an old head. Vargas Rob like an MFer. I'm hearing that. Watanabe versus Sato. I'm not seeing any odds on that, mate. Yeah, I'm not seeing any odds on Sato. Where's that fight card taking place? Guys, wherever you are, like this video. Make sure you hit subscribe. Join the Discord. The link's in the comment section below. It's pinned. Let me know how you did last night. I'm gonna give it a couple more minutes. We're gonna get into this Duarte Kenneth Sims Jr. breakdown. Yeah, that Lloyd Hernandez. That's where I'm. So if he doesn't get that knockdown, they were giving it to Higa. So Dwayne, what was the Bam Rodriguez statement? So guys, we're entering the 15th minute of this live chat. I'm going to stay on for a while. There's a lot to talk about. I'm going to wait for Dwayne. Somebody fill me in on the WBO statement about Bam Rodriguez. I didn't see it. I literally woke up, coached a session, and I'm on my live stream. Oh, There was a post that said he wasn't Mexican. Okay, political stuff. All right, I thought it had something to do with him moving up a weight class or something. Appreciate you, brawler. Okay, I'm gonna give you my take real quick on Kenneth Sims Jr. and Oscar Duarte. Guys, I broke this fight down. I uploaded it on the channel. If you're new to the channel and you're watching my live stream for the first time, I also do edited breakdown analysis videos under my playlist Fight Predictions. So you'll see the thumbnail that says Stats Don't Lie. I uploaded Duarte versus Kenneth Sims Jr. yesterday. And as we look on the money line currently, Duarte is $1.62 favorite, meaning you put 100 on Duarte to win on the money line, you get your money back plus 62 bucks. The draw is 16-1. Sims Jr. is a $2.45 underdog. 100 on him gets you your money back plus 145 bucks. So it's interesting to me when I've watched Kenneth Sims Jr. I've watched him. I remember when he beat Elvis Rodriguez. Elvis Rodriguez at the time, he was only 11-0, but we've seen how that victory, that's his best victory on paper. We've seen how that victory has aged. Duarte, his biggest moment in his career was the fight against Ryan Garcia. He lost. Since then, we know he was the first guy to stop Madueño, and he was the first guy to stop, I'm pretty sure he was the first guy to stop JoJo. And he's 3-0 since the Garcia loss, and he's looked good since the Garcia loss. And the work he's done with Robert Garcia is great. And Garcia is molding him into a more well-rounded fighter. But the narrative about Kenneth Sims Jr. going to be running the entire time, you guys have to watch Kenneth Sims Jr. That's not how he boxes. Kenneth Sims Jr. is a dog. He doesn't have one-punch knockout power, but it's not like he's going to be using the entire ring. He's actually more of a flat-footed fighter. And he wants to mix it up with you. And he has good timing, good reflexes. I give him the speed advantage. I like his backhand. I like that counter. And what he does really well is he gets his opponents to fight his fight at his pace. Now, Duarte, his plan of attack, Duarte's method of victory is he wants to have his opponent stand in front of him and trade with him. And we've seen Duarte get frustrated and sway away from the game plan when things don't go that way. Now, it's going to really come down to which fighter is going to get their opponent and bait them into their game plan. Now, I think Kenneth Sims Jr. is the better boxer. I think he's really underrated. I think that, I don't know if it's, whatever happened. I know he had to pull out the first fight. He had a knee injury. And you would think that after getting that victory in 2021 against Elvis Rodriguez, that would have created momentum in his career. He just hasn't had his moment yet. Guess what? This is his moment. He's 31. Duarte's 29. This fight's going down in Chicago. The Shy. This is his hometown. This is the boss man. I like Kenneth Sims Jr. You're giving me Kenneth Sims Jr. plus money, dude? Are you out of your mind? That's insane to me. So, picking a dog and losing with reason is never a bad shout. I don't think Sims Jr. should be the underdog here. I'm shocked that I'm getting plus money with Sims Jr. I think he's a better boxer. Duarte has more power. I think the path to victory with Duarte, obviously, is he wants to keep Sims in front of him. Now, we'll see how this plays out. TJ, mates, you're an animal. TJ, I posted on I already gave you love, man. I already talked about you. This dude's a beast. TJ picked, he picked Sandoval on the money line like a savage. And then he also talked me into taking the draw, which was kind of my saving grace. So we're currently talking Duarte versus Sims Jr. So how do you guys see Duarte versus Sims Jr. going? Because I love the plus money, like I said. I think that, yeah, I don't like Sims Jr. Reading the comments in the video I did, it's almost like people are commenting and never have seen Kenneth Sims Jr. fight. The thing is, he does want to throw with you. He's just gonna have to have his timing on point. Keys B, that link is pinned in the comment here. Joel in the house. Yeah, Duarte. There's a path to victory for both guys. So I'm not saying I'm not. You guys know this on the channel. We're not fanboying anyone. Just with the odds, with the game plan, with how they go about their business. Yeah. Yeah. So Kiza, it's a YouTube link. You have to join on the YouTube. It's Johnny Says Boxing Insider. And then you get the Discord access. Yeah, and TJ, this is what I talked about with Bossman is I brought this up in my breakdown video. It's widely reported, people know who are in the know, that this guy has many sparring rounds with Terrence Crawford. They brought Sims Jr. to spar Crawford for a couple different fight camps. Whenever you share, the space with a guy like Crawford, you're taking things with you. But Kenneth Sims Jr. is a beast. And the opposite of that is Duarte. Robert Garcia, RGBA is one of my favorite camps. As a kid, boxing, I always talk about it if you're new to the channel. I was 7 years old and always the smallest kid. Body punching was kind of like an instinct to me. And as you know, historically, some of my favorite boxers are either defensive-minded boxers, counter boxers, or body punchers. And you come from RGBA, you get trained by Robert Garcia, I think Virgil Ortiz more currently, bam, you're going to be good to the body. And Duarte is getting better to the body. He sometimes headhunts. And he looks better. He's trending in the right direction. But it's now or never for both guys. I mean, both guys think, Sims thinks that, he has potential the world hasn't seen. Duarte thinks he world champion level, 29-31. We'll see what happens. Fighting in Chicago is a big deal. So, yeah, and TJ brings up the Medueno. He was the first guy to stop Medueno. So you just have to ask yourself, how do you value the win there? How do you value, Duarte's been in this position before. It hasn't gone his way. You got front row seats. That's a good card. I like that card. That's good, man. Boy memes in the house. Yeah, first guy. I didn't know about the Alex Martin stoppage, but I knew he was the first guy to stop JoJo too. So let's pull up. So yeah, Regis program. What are you guys thinking about Regis versus JoJo Diaz? Because I haven't covered. I'm uploading my breakdown today. Any of you guys, TJ, if you're there, because I've heard Gary and I've heard multiple people just talk about JoJo Diaz not being in it for the right reasons, not having a chance. But Regis hasn't really looked like a world beater as of late in this stage of his career. And that's being very nice with what I'm saying there. But neither is JoJo. Some people think that, and the odds are crazy. I love the decision on Regis. Is anybody leaning on Diaz to beat Regis? He's only 32 years old. That's crazy. JoJo Diaz, you would think he was like 40. So you think he beats the shit out of JoJo. Even in Regis's most recent form, I mean, he didn't, his fight against Catterall, the most recent one, and I don't know, man. I'm not saying I'm picking JoJo, and JoJo's obviously tough to bet on. I'm not, he's one of those guys that I kind of don't bet on. But I'm going to have to cover the fight, take the over. It's just, I'm going to upload my breakdown. I'm probably not going to bet on this fight. Read. The odds seem off. Yeah, all right, good. I'm glad I'm not off base with that, TJ, because it's wild to see people online quickly jumping like it's a foregone conclusion that Prograis is just going to beat JoJo. Yeah, he hasn't looked good. I mean, the Zarilla fight, what is he now? 30, 36 years old. It's an odd fight too. It makes you scratch your head when you see it scheduled in. You're kind of thinking to yourself, why is this fight made? I mean, it has Prograis thinks, he's a very competitive guy. Every athlete's competitive, but Prograis has that sort of level, and this is a compliment, has that sort of level of delusion. You know what I mean? That he probably still thinks he could be a world champion, and that's no shade to him. You know what I mean? I admire that. I admire that mindset. They always talk about in order to do anything great, you got to be a bit crazy. So if he has any motivation left, he'll win. He just had his feet have looked terrible. His balance has looked terrible. He's never really, when you watch Regis's career, you never have watched him and be like, wow, man, he does a lot of things at a really, really high level. There's a lot of, it's herky jerky, his style. No viral moments. No, I didn't pick Rosa to win. I definitely didn't get you flipped that. I got the Rosa fight right, and I picked against Sandoval. Yeah, that's what I mean, Marlon Prince. Yeah, that's what I mean. Well, Regis is that type of guy, and we know it's our boxing. This is part of the romanticism why we love the sport of boxing, because it's filled with these sort of characters. Regis, if you never saw Regis fight and you saw Regis speak, you would think Regis fought like a mix of Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. You would think that would be his style when you see him speak. Be like, damn, I can't wait to see Regis fight. This dude, nicknamed Rougarou. You Google what Rougarou is, like a mythical beast in the swamp. You hear Regis speak, you put it all together, and then you watch him fight, and you're like, this is if you had never seen him fight before. You're like, what am I missing? What did I miss? But 29 wins, 24 knockouts. I mean, there was a time where people didn't want to fight him. There was definitely a time where people didn't want to fight him. So I'm just trying. I'm probably not going to bet on it, guys. I'm going to upload it. I'm going to do my due diligence for my channel, like I always do. And I've done film study. I'm going to give you it's going to be a Stats Don't Lie video. I also want to mention, guys, if you're new to the channel, these live streams are meant to educate, not just from my perspective. I mean, when you join the Discord, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's a lot of people, we don't always have to agree. Muscle Brown checking in. Yes, guys, sometimes our best victories in gambling are the ones we don't bet on. I know Muscles didn't have any action last night in Japan. Boxing is going to be slow until next year. History Vault, you have little faith, but there's always fights. There's always fights to talk about. There's always fights to break down. Sal, that's nice, man. Sal, you have access to posts on our YouTube channel. So you take photos. If any of you, and I know some of you other boys are going to be in Chicago. If you guys are at that Chicago card, take photos and upload them to the YouTube channel on the community section. Because if you're just a subscriber, I've opened access to just regular YouTube subscribers now. Could just upload either your pics, pictures of the fights, that sort of thing. And I will moderate. I do moderate it to make sure people aren't putting up 1-800 hotline numbers. Yeah, I know action. Muscle Brown, I had no action this morning. I'm up so much. There's no need to be greedy. Yeah, it was the saddest bit for me about last night is in Australia, we pay for the subscription for DAZN. Marlon Prince, yep. And we got blacked out, so we couldn't even pay to watch Japan. I was so pissed. I went to bed anyway. Marlon Prince, I'm gonna get to the UFC. I'm doing one more live today. I'm gonna upload Regis versus Jojo. I'm gonna go live again. I'm gonna talk about the UFC card here shortly. I think Duarte and Sims goes the distance. That's what I think too, Vega. If you want to get fancy on that, you take the over, take the fight to go the distance. If you're kind of torn on what guy to lean on, it should be a fun fight too. Blue collar, dude. All the boys, dude. You boys are. It's great to have real boxing fans. So we got 3 people on the live that are going to be in Chicago. Sims is durable. Well, I don't know. I don't think Sims has ever been dropped. And he's a dog, meaning that, like, when I say a fighter's a dog, meaning that instinctually you can't train to be a dog. Think about Jorge Masvidal. People with Jorge, and I'm not talking about how he was as a fighter. I'm talking about his nickname. If you understand what the nickname game bred means, game bred is a term used in dog breeding, fighting, in dog fighting. Okay, so when I say a guy is a dog, I'm talking instinctually. It's in certain guys instinctually to fight, like to bite down and fucking stand there. And Sims is that guy. He just doesn't have one pop knock. Pro Duarte crowd in Chicago. Big Latin community there. Yeah, and Sims isn't a household name. We'll see though. TJ, what if it's a Terrence Crawford pro? When Bud would go to Omaha, but I don't expect that. I think Bud was selling out Omaha though before he beat Ricky Burns. I think Burns wasn't Burns his first world title at 35, and I'm pretty sure before he beat Burns in the UK, I think he was already selling out Omaha, if I'm right. And yeah, there's no way Sims Jr. has that sort of following locally. Maybe Chicago is a bigger city, who knows? But, not a household name. He thinks he should be a household name. Both guys need a viral moment. This day and age in the modern boxing era could go a long way. Yeah, Thomas. If I had a crystal ball, I'd have a private jet right now. Even if I did, I wouldn't want a private jet. That doesn't even suit my personality. But you know what I'm saying. You get the gist. JoJo coming up from 26 to 4. JoJo never felt power. Okay. Nice. From Chicago. Sweet. That's the question. Like my question, my hesitation with Jojo Diaz is, what are his intentions? In my breakdown video of the Sims Duarte, and I went over the odds, I said that exact thing what TJ said, how the money line right now has Sims Jr. almost at a 2-1, but I said that I think it's a 50-50 fight. Yeah, Progress. Who else is on the card? Joshua Edwards, though. We've been talking about Joshua Edwards on the channel. He's only 3-0. He had a good amateur career, 3-0, 3 knockouts. American heavyweight. We've been talking about on the channel for the last year since he went pro. I would personally, if I were in the Chicago area, I would go to that card to watch Joshua Edwards fight. And it kind of sounds like an obscure point. But when you think about how thin the American heavyweight division is and the relevance of a rising prospect who some people are looking at, it's super young in his career, but some people are looking at him with the eyes of like, this kid could be the one next in line. But Josh Edwards is on that card. And I think that's a great undercard fight to watch. I would, like I said, I would pay for the ticket just to see what Josh Edwards looks like live. He's fighting a guy. Yeah, so he's fighting a guy with 5 pro fights. Josh Edwards is 3-0. Storied amateur career. Big heavyweight. Aggressive heavyweight. Says all the right things on the microphone. Really marketable. And he's been active, so it's going to be. And then other than that, I don't know much about the other fight. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know who. Mekhi Phillips. Mr. Get No Money. Yeah. In so many words, he's spot on. What's up, Rambler? Is it Eliminator 12 rounds? So Regis and JoJo is a 10-rounder. Duarte and Kenneth Sims Jr. is a 12-rounder. Guys, we're about a little over 30 minutes in. Let's like the video. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. Let me know how you did last night in Japan. I know the Discord group was going off. Join the Discord group. The link is in the comments section. Johnny Says Boxing Insider Group on YouTube. It's a couple bucks a month. It's how I put the paywall up for Discord, because Discord has all the pro bettors in there, guys who really are, historically cleaning up in the sport of boxing. All bad last night. Yeah, the draw, I ended up hitting on the draw, but the draw killed my pick, and then I got it wrong with Sandoval. But other than that, it's the game. And then the Aussie boxing card, man, that Brisbane card, just in terms of talent-wise, it was tough to watch. The best fight on that card was watching two guys who were making their debut go life and death. That was the most exciting fight on the card. It was like watching my two high school mates after basketball practice. This was late 90s. Basketball practice was like an MMA fight when I played in Northeast Ohio, and we'd have gloves in the locker room and fight afterwards. So what I was watching in Australia reminded me of some of those fights in the locker room. Man, I'm not sold on Tristan Kalkruth. Dude, I've watched his last two fights. It's hard for me to. Sometimes Christian Kalkruth's work. I question what's he doing in his training. He sometimes looks like his work ethic isn't quite there. He doesn't really blow me away. He doesn't get me excited to watch him fight. I think Joshua Edwards at 3-0 beats Kalkruth. For real. So that's how high that's how high I am on Joshua Edwards. Tristan Kalkruth, to me, man, I know people are excited about him, about how he looks on paper, but I watched his live. I guess you can't always judge a fighter on one performance, but my dad always used to say, "What have you done for me lately?" You actually can. You're only as good as your last win. You're only as bad as your last loss. So I'm not, when I see he doesn't excite me to watch his fights. Now, is it an exciting matchup because you feel that his opponent could beat him? That's something we could talk about that. I'm not even, what fight card is that on though? You know who's fighting, guys? Gabe Rosado is fighting. The big fella. Gabriel Rosado is fighting this weekend. I think it's in Long Beach. I thought Gabe Rosado was, and it makes sense because I saw Rosado on the microphone a week or so ago, and he was hating on one of the fighters, just hating. And I remember thinking to myself, I hate when fighters who, it always puts a bad taste in my mouth when like guys who have retired start, they're doing commentary and they're hating on fighters. It's like a blatant sort of negativity. And then I was like, why is Rosado hating on this dude? And then I saw on BoxRec he's fighting this weekend. And I'm like, he's still fighting, that's why. Yeah. Yeah, Piercy, I know, dude, it's insane. I was shocked that he got sanctioned. I mean, yeah, he's fighting in Long Beach. What is this card? Ancajas is the main event. Yeah, it's a pretty obscure card, but I kind of like the Box Fest cards sometimes. They're usually Marv Nation Promotions, Long Beach Thunder Studios. I mean, the hardcore bettors are probably going to get action on some of this. I kind of like, I'll watch it in the background if nothing else is on. But there's always good scraps. I mean, you're not going to recognize a lot of these names if you go to BoxRec. We'll see if the old Aussie sports bet lets us bet on the fights. But, yeah, so I'm uploading later. I'm uploading Regis vs. JoJo. I'm going live again later today. It's my Thursday. And then we got another fight card this week. I'm I'm gonna turn the page real quick. Let's look at the UFC card real quick. Do you train? So I train people. I live in Sydney, Australia, and I don't train people to take fights. I train fitness. So I teach the technique, the fundamentals, how to box. I spar with all my clients, and I tell them if you ever want to take it to the next level, I could guide you. I have, my coach who's an Olympian in Australia, but I don't market myself to train amateur boxers. Just because I've managed a couple fighters before pros. It's a dicey business, man. It's a tough sport to even be involved in. So that's why I always tip my hat off to all coaches, trainers. The business side is so dark and murky. Yeah, I put a bad taste in my mouth. I stopped managing fighters in 2023. Moses should stop white 1 through 3. Easy. Goku Sims, easy money line. I like it too. Okay, here's what we got. Esteban Bunez, Pierre Rodriguez, Souza, Klein, Puvalev, Vieira, Gore. That's an interesting fight. The UFC loves Rodolfo Vieira. The UFC is always waiting for Rodolfo Rivera to be the guy that they thought he was going to be. This big geared out grappler. Yeah, I'm not betting no more. Rambler. Good. We need that, Rambler. We appreciate your honesty. Neil Magny, that's a dude. I don't know. Even the UFC matchups, this looks like a card that people are gonna get cooked. Yeah, that UFC card is suspicious. Yeah, man. Oh God, that UFC card looks suspicious. I mean, even Fluffy versus Dolsday. I've been Roman. Do you guys know the story about Roman Dolidze? I don't want to spread. I don't want to. They're not rumors. This is all facts. Roman Dolidze. He's a fighter, MMA fighter. I think from Georgia, the country of Georgia. This fool just straight up jacked. Yeah, this fool just straight up jacked my man's wife. And the crazy thing about it is when you look at like the hype that JP Bays had coming from South Africa, he was being marketed as a guy that could potentially be a champion, I think at 125. And I think he might have went either 1-5 in the UFC, maybe 0-5, and then in the midst of him getting stopped, I think and he was like, JP's like 5'7", 5'8". 5'7", 5'8", small, and then he gets his wife jacked by a savage from Georgia, a 6'1", like prehistoric looking man, jacks his wife, impregnates her. Now they have a happy family, and Eastern Europe. Dude, horrible story, awful story, but that's Roman. And it's insane, but you'll have that. And this is why. So my buddies, one of my good friends is he's a jiu-jitsu coach, and since we were younger, he's been doing jiu-jitsu forever. He was like, don't ever take your girl to a jiu-jitsu class. That's what he tells his mates. He didn't tell me that. This is what he tells his mates. Don't ever take your girl to a jiu-jitsu class because it's like a common thing that your girl will end up, because the intimacy of the sport itself, when you're learning the physicality of what you're doing over time, leads to a lot of these stories. So anyway, Muscle, you want pick? Oh, is this good? Goku, I'm him. I bet straight dogs. Okay, mate. These cats is wild. Yeah, DJ Green. Yeah, and they try to wipe the internet of this story. The UFC never even brought it up, never talked about it. And his girl fought in the UFC. His girl fought on the Contender Series. Changed their last name. Last UFC. Yeah, betting on the UFC is wild just because of the parity in the sport. There's so much parity. Nova could fight, mate. Abraham Nova is alive. You know who else is a live dog that I've been telling you boys for weeks is Sam Goodman. You guys are laughing at me. I'm taking Sam Goodman to beat Nick Ball. If anybody wants to talk about that one, I think those odds are crazy. I think, people are really, really underestimating Sam Goodman. And it's going to even be a crazier statement, but, you guys were picking him to be a whitewash loss against Inoue. Sam Goodman is a hell of a boxer, 100%. Sam Goodman is a hell of a boxer. His style, his movement, his counters, his speed, his reflexes, his length, his jab. He does Nah, I'm not 100%. I was at the Cesar Vaca fight. Sam Goodman got the Inoue fight for a reason. Sam Goodman's undefeated for a reason. Sam Goodman is a really good boxer. And with all of Nick Ball's holes, all of his deficiencies, when you're talking about style versus style, styles make fights, mate, that's everything that Sam Goodman does well. That is a great matchup for Sam Goodman. A smaller, shorter fighter who doesn't have the best feet, doesn't have the best balance, gets off balance all the time, over swings, over punches, just tries to walk you down. That's a recipe for disaster. So I really like Goodman in that fight. We're a couple weeks away. Add the extra 4 pounds, 126. Man, he's a live. Talk about a live dog, 100%. That's no shade. I look at Nick Ball, man. I see an athlete. Nick Ball reminds me of an athlete who boxes. The optic of his style isn't obviously, that's not a shocking comment. The optic of his style when you watch him, there's a lot of holes. He is a pure boxer. Nice, Brandon. You have 3 different ones with bad feet, small meat. He was waiting all chat to say that. I don't think Ray Ford, Nick Ball. I don't think Ray Ford is. I don't hold a Ray Ford to the highest level either, though. Like, Abraham Nova is a tough out. I think Nova's going to give him problems. Ray Ford at least is trending. Ray Ford is at least trending. He's adding levels to his offense. I love to see that in fighters. Nick Ball looks exactly the same. Nick Ball, he's already a finished style. Yeah, so I still think Ray Ford is still going to keep developing, especially what I've seen over his last few fights. His emphasis on having more offensive output, being more aggressive, fighting more on the front foot. He's still developing, which is a great sign. I expect him to even add another level to his game against Nova. It's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good test for him. What's up, Bum Equipment? Yeah, that draw. I hit on the draw, actually, but yeah, we lost with Ken Shiro. So I told you to put the house on Pandora. Best champ at 30. He's a great boxer. Rudy in the house. Rudy, so you now have access to our Discord, Petroza. And that link you have on our YouTube channel now, since you joined as an insider. You have access to a separate section on our YouTube channel that you'll find the link in the Discord. And if you can't find it, send me a DM on Instagram. I'll send you the link. Ford is a dog. Dude, Hrgovic, we're talking about Hrgovic now. Yeah, we're getting thin, aren't we? I think both guys need it. It's an interesting fight. Just because we lose on a vet doesn't mean it was a rough night. Sugar Nunez is my guy at 130, Pedro. 130 has some interesting fighters there too. Did you guys see Liam Perro is moving up to 147? That is, for me, because 147, since Boots left, 147 went from when EJ was there, when Bud was there, they had those, it was top heavy. We obviously know what's happened since July 2023. And then Boots was kind of like trying to be the guy at 47, at least, name. And now he's leaving to 54. And now you got Barrios, Norman Jr. Liam Perro moving to 147 is interesting. I think Liam Perro has a bet, and he's been at 140. He's 29 years old. He's been at 140 his entire career. You picked Rosa? I didn't pick Rosa. Yeah, so I definitely didn't pick Rosa last night. All right, Muscles, hit me up for sure. I got to head out soon, too. I'm going to stay on for about 10 more minutes. We could talk. The floor is open if you guys want to talk about either last night, UFC, upcoming fights. I'll pick one of them. We'll get to it. Yeah, the draw always kills. Coming from Australia, the draw kills us. But I hedged my bet, and I bet on the draw in the Vargas fight and got it, which was insane. Yeah, in bum equipment, it's the odds, man. The odds lately have been baiting us to pick the dogs. But I need to see more of Bakram Murtazayev. I'm not one of these guys to call him the boogeyman. He looked great against Tim, but with Tim's style, everybody lately has been looking great against Tim. Everyone except Joey Spencer. No Diddy. Always bet on the draws. That's an OG. I don't think they call him. Do they call him draws anymore? Because my girl made fun of me recently. I was like, man, my draws are showing. She's like, your what? Your what is showing? I was like, my draws. Yeah, Takami. I had 2 fights at Takami, and I saw an interview Takami had given, and the people in Takami's camp and the people around him are referring to him as the next in line for Taraji. So he was getting compared to a pound for pound guy at only 9-0 with 7 knockouts. And everything I saw with, Rosa, small guy. We talked about his amateur style. Never really sat down on his shots. I was really comfortable with that pick. Yeah, Bakram has serious power. I need to see more of Bakram, though. A lot of guys have serious power. 154 is a fun division. I'm just saying, Bakram's a champion for a reason. I'm not sitting here and saying he's the boogeyman, though. He has power. I mean, at that division, a lot of guys have power. I want to see more of him. I want to see him against a guy who will move a bit. I want to see what his front game looks like. He went life and death in his last fight. And Bakram Murtazayev fans are going to tell you the fight before Tim, he looked so sluggish because he was fasting. It was the month of Ramadan. So that's a fair point. It is a fair point. You could say Ramadan Murtazayev, non-Ramadan Murtazayev. The fight before Zoo Ramadan, the fight with Zoo non-Ramadan. So that's why I need to see more of him. He looked very sluggish the fight before, and I thought he looked like a wet noodle. My whole one side of my family is Italian, so boiling noodles, and I know other cultures have noodles, but when a noodle's wet, it's just soggy. That's how Murtazayev looked to me in his last fight, and I just want to see more of him. Nice hit, mate. You picked Jensen on the money line. My boy's eating. Those are good picks. Yeah, I stayed away from all that. Yeah, I want to see him tested. We don't know really about a guy until they're tested. I mean, and he took a lot of shots the fight before. You could say that he was tested. Oscar gonna get pieced up all night by them. Goku is baiting people to jump in. That's Ortiz versus Claggett is a fun fight. That's a fun fight card. There's some fun fighters on that fight card. That's a MVP fight card. And there's a couple girl fights on that fight card. I was just looking at it last night. I like watching Steve Claggett. Claggett has a good motor, man. He has a good output. Do you think Josh? I do. Dude. People are. I don't know if Josh Kelly did an Instagram live yesterday talking about the pathetic contract that Boots' team sent to him. So I don't know if it's going to go down. But are you talking Josh versus Boots or Josh versus Murtazaev? I like Josh Kelly's chances in both of those fights. You guys think I'm crazy, but Josh Kelly is a good boxer with a very fan-friendly style, with a very tricky sort of style to pick up on, but once you kind of pick up on it, I mean, his only loss was Avanesian. He faded. He was looking good until he didn't look good. And Avanesian walked him down, the smaller guy. And then he had a draw against Ray Robinson, his only fight in the U.S. Virgil versus Fedora. Fun fight. I like both guys. It's a tough fight. It's a tough fight to call. I don't really like predicting fights until they're made official, because I'm a fan of the sport. I'm not a fan of a guy. I don't have, I have fighters that I always watch. I always watch Seb when he fights. I love Virgil. I love watching his style, but I'm not a fan of any one fighter. So until it gets made official, I don't like breaking it down. Did you catch the Masson fight? I did. It was terrible. It was horrible. Aussie boxing last night was awful. Yeah, he's worked on his game, though. You can't just throw away a guy because of a loss. You can't just forget about all of the ability a guy has because he has a loss. Come on, mate. Garcia versus Romero 2. I hope not. Garcia versus Romero 2. I don't want to see that fight. Are they making that official? God damn it. I don't want to see Ryan Garcia versus Raleigh 2. I want to see Raleigh get a different fight. He already beat Ryan. Raleigh Romero gonna get elevated to full world champion. Raleigh Romero gonna be a 2-division world champion. I love it. I don't care about Ryan Garcia for redemption. I hope not. What is Abdullah Mason's ceiling? The sky? Abdullah Mason's a dog. 21 years old, good kid, grounded. The sky. Pac-Man versus Raleigh. Man, they're talking about Liam Perro versus Raleigh. They were talking about it last night. My bad. They were talking about Liam Perro versus Pacquiao. They're trying to they were marketing it last night on the Aussie stream, saying that Pacquiao wants to get his redemption for the Jeff Horn fight. What happened in Australia? Horn and Liam are both Queenslanders. That's what they're. And Perro just moved to 47. I think Perro could be a champion at 47. Perro moving to 47 excites me. The weight class would be 47. Yeah, the Aussies were just trying to sell the fight. They were trying to spin the narrative. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's official or anything. But the Aussies on the stream last night were trying to spin because Pac-Man, he wants to get his he wants to avenge the loss to Horn in Australia. Yeah, Liam's 1-2, man. That backhand, aggressive. He's a really good fighter. And 47 is slim pickings right now, mate. Yeah, they are. 47 slim pickings. If Raleigh gets elevated, which he might, Raleigh, Brian Norman Jr., Mario Barrios. 47 slim pickings, mate. I'd love to see Paro versus Brian Norman Jr. stylistically. But the more I think about Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney, that fight actually excites me. The more I think about it, and when you rewatch Haney versus Jose Ramirez, I know people are gonna say he ran the whole time. But if you take Haney, if you take some of the good things that he did, the thing Haney didn't do good that fight was he was exiting, obviously, way more than 2 steps. We talk about it all the time. When you're teaching day one of footwork, being able to engage in the pocket and exit far enough not to get hit but be close enough to counter, you do a drill, a two-step exit drill. So, 2 steps in, boom, boom, 2 steps out, and then you either circle right or circle left. It's a drill. You put the cone in the middle of the ring, and you have your fighters slide in 2 steps, pop a combo, slide out 2 steps, and then either circle right or circle left. And that keeps your distance of, like I said, being able to hit, not get hit, but still counter. And It's like what Shakur was doing against Edwin De Los Santos, what Devin was doing against Ramirez. They were breaking that rule, and that's when people were saying they were running. But when you look at what Haney was doing, good, man, Haney's hand speed is ridiculous. Haney's technique on his combos is ridiculous, and he had his moments. There were flashes. There were flashes against Ramirez, and when you look at that, mate, Haney has some real world class hand speed and technique. It's weird how people just don't give him credit for what he does really well. Boxing's filled with these sort of haters. They'll just talk about a guy, what they don't like about a fighter, and they disregard what they do really well. So when you think about that, when you think about Devin, and you think about Brian only being 24, you got to think about the stylistic matchup. Devin's not just going to stand there with him and just go like, here. You know, he's not going to do that. And Norman's composure will be tested. Norman's patience, his composure. Will he get frustrated? Will he force the issue? Will he put himself in bad positions to get countered? Will Devin figure that footwork out really quickly? It's a very interesting matchup. NFL season starts tomorrow. Diehard football fan, guys. Oh, Mar the Prince is an Ohio guy. He knows. I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to start sharing my football bets, guys. Where do we draw the line? You guys will end up, if I give you my football picks, you guys are going to be sharing betting on darts and arm wrestling. You guys are going to be betting on ping pong, you know, cookouts. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm an Ohio State Buckeye fan, and I'm a Cleveland Brown fan. So I don't really bet on the Browns. But I watch I grew up in Northeast Ohio playing football. I'm a football player too. So, and I always tell people the first 4 to 5 weeks of college football, I make all my money. It's a little bit harder now. It's a little bit harder now because of the conference play. But back in the day, you wouldn't start conference play until about week 4 or week 5. And Ohio State would be playing like the Sisters of the Poor. And in Australia, you could take all money lines. So we have, I am not BKFC. You know what I'm saying? Oh no, NASCAR. I ain't got time for all that. Bengals have a spot. Man, I was a Bengals. I'm a Browns fan, but when I think Cincinnati, I think Ickey Woods. I think Boomer Esiason. Those are the Bengals teams I remember. James Brown, dude. You guys don't even remember him. You guys think I'm talking about the singer. Was it Carl Pickens? Boy, Carl Pickens, Cincinnati has some squads. I think that's when they had Sam Welch as their coach. But yeah, I'm an old head, boy. I'm 43. I remember when Cincinnati won the AFC and then got beat 55-10 in the Super Bowl against Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. 55-10, belt to ass. I think it was 1990. Where does he go? Who are we talking about? Blair Cobbs. Man, Blair Cobbs can't get a fight. Thank you. I take care of myself. And it's 6:30. It's 7 in the morning. I just woke up. You should see me when I get dolled up and go out with my pretty ass girl. You'd be like, damn, who that girl is? Who that boy at? So yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm a strength and conditioning coach. I live pretty much a samurai lifestyle. I don't drink, don't smoke, don't party. I train every day. I do saunas every day. I drink water. I do strength and conditioning. I got to do a back squat today. Yeah, so guys, it is 7:43 my time. I got to roll. I got to upload the Rougarou fight versus JoJo. If you haven't seen my breakdown of Kenneth Sims Jr. versus Duarte, that's on the playlist section. Stats, fight predictions, stats don't lie. If you want access to our Discord, TJ from Chilltown's in the Discord, Muscles in the Discord, Goats in the Discord, Mar the Prince is in the Discord, all the boys with the blue stars. You become a Johnny Says Boxing Insider on YouTube, couple bucks a month. You get access to that Discord. The Discord's been popping. I've had it for 2 weeks and it's growing. I appreciate the support. I'm going live again in a few hours to talk about the UFC. So we got the UFC and then we got a couple fight cards this week.